Welcome back to the Last Stop Sports Talk podcast. Today is Saturday, June 22nd, 2025, and here on episode 90, I am joined by Carson Kropp, as always, and our first ever special guest, Mark Bryan, someone who I would call a friend, former coworker of mine, successful bettor, I would say, football addict just like us. He paid for his wife's engagement and wedding rings through sports betting over the span of 2 or 3 days. Mark, how you doing?
Doing good. I love the intro.
Yeah, yeah.
Me up a little bit.
With a resume like that, we can't turn you down. It's
Right.
like you put out a job posting for, you want a bachelor's degree and you want like 5 years of work experience. Then
Yeah.
someone applies with a doctorate and 50 years of on-the-job experience. You just can't turn it down.
Exactly. On a betting show like today, which, by the way, today is episode 90. This is our favorite NFL futures bets for the 2025 season. That's what we're going to be getting into today. Obviously, Cody's not here. He went to Europe. He's jet-lagged as hell. He'll be coming back next week telling us about his Europe trip, obviously. But on today's episode, each of us are bringing 5 bets to the table for this NFL season. All of these bets are on FanDuel. We're going to give you guys the odds as well. All these odds of the bets have to be between minus 120 and plus 999, whatever, just like anything. But the bets can be anything from player stats, team win totals, teams to make the playoffs, season awards, etc. But we'll get right into it, I say. I can get us started over here. I'm going to start us with my first one is Puka Nacua to win the 2025 Offensive Player of the Year award, and that is at plus 1,600 right now on FanDuel. So obviously betting on season award winners is a shot in the dark. So I'm not suggesting to put any kind of big money on this, but the odds are big, so the payouts can be big as well, which can make these bets enticing, possibly fun. I just kind of went down the list on FanDuel for the 2025 Offensive Player of the Year candidates from lowest to highest odds until I found the player that made the most sense to me. The player that I could clearly see a path to winning the OPOY in 2025. So Saquon Barkley is obviously the top guy. He's at plus 550, but with 482 touches last season, I'm concerned that he's not going to be able to do in 2025 what he just did in 2024. And it seems like I'm not alone in that line of thinking, and I think we're probably going to be talking about that later in the show. So that's all the deeper I'll go into that. Next up is Jamar Chase at plus 900. But if T. Higgins can stay healthy for a full season, I feel his targets are going to be fairly even with Chase because that's what we saw in 2024 when they were both on the field. And the Bengals are now very much so financially obligated to feed not only Chase but also Higgins on this offense. So next up is Jahmyr Gibbs, plus 1,300. I know that Jahmyr Gibbs is crazy efficient and explosive, but the Lions are going to continue to use David Montgomery with him in a near even split. So the touches just may not be there to win that OPOY. Next up is Derrick Henry at plus 1,400. Derrick Henry is entering his age 31 season, and maybe this is wrong for me to say this and probably pretty disrespectful, but it seems less impressive to me when Derrick Henry runs for 1,900 plus yards on the Ravens compared to when he did it on the Titans. It feels like the presence of Lamar Jackson beside him and the threat of Lamar keeping the ball and running it himself dampens the impressiveness that Derrick Henry had in Tennessee when defenses knew he was getting the ball and they still had trouble stopping him. So I kind of went past him, probably disrespectfully. Then Justin Jefferson, also plus 1,400. I'm just not a J.J. McCarthy believer yet. I haven't been ever since I watched this film before the 2024 draft. Maybe I should just trust what Kevin O'Connell has proven with Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold. Maybe I should just trust that Justin Jefferson is quarterback proof because I think he is. So Jettas is honestly the other one that I kind of really thought about, but I moved past him as well. Nico Collins, yes, Tank Dell may miss the entire 2025 season, but the Texans just drafted 2 Iowa State receivers early and brought in Christian Kirk for even more target competition. So I went past him as well. And that brought me to Puka Nacua at plus 1,600. Puka Nacua played 11 games last year in 2024 and finished with 79 receptions, 990 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. That pace extrapolated, you like that word?
Oh, good one.
Extrapolated, yeah. Extrapolated over 17 games is
Very
122 receptions, 1,530 receiving yards, 4 receiving touchdowns. I know those numbers aren't super crazy, but he did put up 105 receptions, 1,486 receiving yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns in 2024 as a fifth-round rookie. And he just easily pushed out his biggest target competition and what was believed to be Matt Stafford's best friend in Cooper Kupp. Because last year, Puka's target rate, this blew my mind whenever I read this, which is the percentage of time he was targeted when he was running a route, was 43.6% last year.
Puka?
43, yeah.
That's got to be like...
It was number 1 in the NFL out of all wide receivers last year.
Probably in the last 5 years.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's out there running the route. He's getting targeted almost half the time.
That's like Calvin Johnson numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
That's insane.
But from a Hawaiian.
Yes. That's crazy.
Yes, the Rams did bring in Devontae Adams this offseason, but I can almost guarantee that Devontae's chemistry and rapport with Matt Stafford is not going to be like Puka's rapport and chemistry with Matt Stafford. So Puka has done nothing but absolutely crushed expectations since entering the NFL. So I could see this guy reaching new heights in 2025 if he can stay healthy. So I'm taking my shot on Puka Nacua winning that OPOY. What do you guys think?
I can't hate it. The only reason I have to look elsewhere would be injury concerns. But
Yes.
if he can stay healthy, then I think the offense is going to run through him, and he's going to continue to be Matt Stafford's guy. Like you said, I'm not too concerned about Devontae Adams being there. He showed even last year with his best friend, Aaron Rodgers, he's not who he used to be. And Garrett Wilson was even able to fight him off. So I have all the faith in the world that Puka's going to do the same.
Yeah.
Mark, you can go next if you would like with your first bet.
Alrighty. Well, got the old school paper here.
Hell yeah.
First one that I got is I got George Pickens over 900 yards at minus 114.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking. So for his career, he averages a 19.9% target share on the offenses he's been on the past 3 years. Average of 481 attempts. And those attempts have been led by Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky. He's played with Fields and Wilson last year, and then a couple other people. Kyle Allen in there a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of great names.
Yeah.
Going to this Cowboys offense during that same 3-year period, they averaged 602 attempts a year. So, easily more tries. For his career, he averages about 16.25 yards per catch. So, you would need about 56 catches for him to hit this, which doesn't seem all that unreasonable at all. I mean, last year he had, I believe it was like 59 catches for 900 on like 103 targets. The only thing I would be weary of is obviously CeeDee Lamb is going to soak a ton of targets. He had like 150 something last year, like 170 2 years ago when he had that crazy season.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if anything, they seem buddy already, and if Dak stays healthy, which is going to be the big concern there, he's had multiple seasons where he's given out multiple 100-yard targets to different people. He did with Ferguson and
Brandon Cooks probably in there? No,
Brandon,
maybe
he
not.
was close. There was 1 year, I think Lamb had like 150, Ferguson had like 107, and then Cooks had like 89.
I wonder if there was a year of Michael Gallup in
I was
there.
thinking the
Yeah,
same.
Michael Gallup, yeah.
Yeah, I think all reports coming out of camp have been good, but once again, it's reports coming out of camp, so they're always good. But I've seen that him and Pickens already have a good connection. I think CeeDee Lamb will soak up targets, like you said, but he's also going to soak up the double teams. And George Pickens in single coverage is not good for the defense. We've seen on the Steelers, even with a badly thrown ball, he's still got the upper hand and going up and getting it. So I like it, yeah.
Yeah, we never really talked about it on the podcast, Pickens going to the Cowboys, but I think it is just a great fit because CD does work better over the middle along with Turd Ferguson. So you need that guy that can kind of get deep. It's always good to get deep. You want that guy that can get deep.
We're not that guy.
Not that guy at all. No, but the guy who could take a top off a defense, and that's exactly what they went out and got. So I think whenever the Cowboys went out and traded for George Pickens from the Steelers, I think that it was like that perfect fit. And I think that he is going to thrive in this offense. And if he can get 1,000 yards like he did in 2023 on the Steelers in that dysfunctional offense, I think he's probably going to be fine in Dallas. So I like that bet a lot, Mark. Carson, you're up.
My first bet is changing gears here a little bit. We're going with the division winner, and that is Texans to win the AFC South at plus 110. Last year they won the AFC South at 10-7. Colts behind them at 8-9. Jags and Titans at 4-13 and 3-14. I don't see any way that they lose to any of these teams. Once again, the Texans add Jaden Higgins, like you already said, Christian Kirk. They beef up their line, and C.J. Stroud's blind spot, Cam Robinson, Laken Tomlinson on the left side of the line. They bring in Nick Chubb even to show that they're all in, try to give him a shot. And then on defense, they bring in C.J. G.J., who's going to transform this secondary. Yeah. They bring in E.J. Speed and Nick Neiman, who for whatever he's worth. Sheldon Rankins. They got some more depth on this defense, even though they didn't need it. Meanwhile, the Colts. The Colts did bring in Tyler Warren, Charvarius Ward, and Cam Bynum, who I'm not super concerned about either of them compared to the Texans' additions. But what I really want to address here for the Colts is their quarterback. Right now they're having a competition between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. I've seen that Daniel Jones has the upper hand right now, mostly because of AR's injuries. But Daniel Jones, I do not foresee him leading. I do not foresee Daniel Jones leading this team to a better record than Joe Flacco could, because all the jokes we make about Joe Flacco being old beers, whatever, he was very functional in this offense, and he delivered the ball where he needed to, and he operated the offense well. Daniel Jones is more explosive, but also more turnover worthy. And when you're going up against the Texans twice a year, that's 2 losses with this defense. And I just think the Texans can get back to 10-7 or better, because the team they had this year compared to last year is so much better.
Yeah, they at least took a ton. We talked about it. They at least took a ton of stabs at the O-line. Like, they added probably 8 guys, I think. 7, 8 guys to at least try to make it better, because that was their main downfall last year, because C.J. Stroud was running for his life. And I don't see how they couldn't be better. And, yeah, the only really competition I feel like in that division as of right now is the Colts, because their roster just looks really, really good right now outside of quarterback. But I know that Anthony Richardson is not a perfect quarterback by any means, but if he is losing the job to Daniel Jones, I feel like the ceiling for that offense is just boom, lower, and I might have to take down that Anthony Richardson jersey sooner than I thought. Which I'm really bummed about, because that's a nice alternate jersey. They're fancy new ones. But anyways, as much as I want to root for the Colts because I am an Anthony Richardson believer and fan, I could easily see the Texans winning the division yet again.
I was surprised it was plus 110. I thought they was going to be in the minuses, but they must be accounting for injuries or Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson actually doing something. So
that's scary. Okay, my next bet is Devon Achane over 900.5 rushing yards in the regular season, which is minus 114. So I would say that Devon Achane last year took a step back. Yes, he was still really good in fantasy, but in real life, the Dolphins' offense really struggled. Pass game was almost non-existent, so they had to rely on Achane even more. So his efficiency just wasn't what it was in his rookie year. He only forced 32 missed tackles. He only had 10 runs of 15-plus yards. So in his rookie year, he had 13 runs of 15-plus yards, and he did that in 95 less attempts. But he did still finish 2024 with 907 rushing yards in a year that I would say it was a pretty down year.
It was a shitty year.
Yeah, it was a shitty year. And you're telling me that he can't do at least that again? I would disagree with you. Mike McDaniel made his money in San Francisco as the run game coordinator for multiple seasons. That eventually earned him his Miami head coaching job. Mike McDaniel is now on the hot seat after an 8-9 season where his offense just struggled. It was just shitty. He started the season 2-6, finished the season 22nd in points scored and 18th in yards gained. Tua only played 11 games. That played a big part in it. Tyreek Hill finished with less than 1,000 receiving yards. Jalen Waddle finished with less than 750 receiving yards.
That guy can't stay healthy.
No, he can't, yeah. And now we've heard nothing but bad vibes coming out of Miami since the end of last season. Tyreek wanted to knock out Mike McDaniel whenever he didn't get enough targets. Jonnu Smith is maybe on the trading block, maybe going to the Steelers after his best season ever with 882 receiving yards. There's always questions around both Tua's skill level and health. Jalen Ramsey wants to be traded, which would leave them with I know we talk about it quite a bit, but it's going to leave them with a steaming pile of dog shit of outside corners of Storm Duck, Cam Smith, Artie Burns. Remember that first-round pick from the Steelers? Oh,
yeah, I do.
Ethan Bonner, fast white guy.
Fastest guy on the team.
Yeah, according to Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
And then fifth-round rookie Jason Marshall Jr. And then Cater Kohu in the slot is good, but outside corners would just be bad if Jalen Ramsey's gone. The only big-time addition they made to this defense over the offseason was defensive tackle Kenneth Grant in the second round of the draft. But literally every analyst I've heard talk about the Dolphins this offseason is selling on them, writing them off. And that's exactly why I'm buying in.
Boy.
At least for the offense. I don't trust the defense either. But the offense, with all this bad publicity and questions surrounding his team, I bet Mike McDaniel wants to get back to what brought him success in the first place. Running the damn ball. And you think he's not working on creative ways to get one of the most explosive running backs in the NFL the ball for this season? I think not. I think he's probably working on how to do that.
Yeah.
But with a more functional offense, hopefully, around HN, led by hopefully healthier Tua, Tyreek, and Waddle, which again, hopefully.
Malik Washington.
Malik Washington, yeah. This is his year to crack open his, I don't know where I was going with that, to really explode out of the slot in a good way. That can hopefully open up the pass game again, which then there should be more running lanes for this track star HN to speed through for big gains on his way to 900-plus yards, rushing yards for 2025. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think you're forgetting to take into account that they brought in James Daniels on the offensive line at
yes,
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
This offensive line is now going to be transformed. But on a real note, there's not really any competition here in the run game either. Previously he had Raheem Mostert. Maybe it was a good thing because it was his thunder to his lightning. But you have Jalen Wright, Alexander Madison, and Ollie Gordon.
Yeah, I don't care about these guys.
I think he's still going to get all the usage. Whether he can, it's another one of those things where it's if he stays healthy, then yeah, I don't see how he doesn't get it. But he's a small guy, and if he has to take the beating he did last year, I don't foresee him staying healthy because last year was just such a terrible year for this run game. They couldn't get the run game going at all, and teams were all over him shit on stink, and I don't know. I do see a scenario where he doesn't get it in the form of injury.
Right.
But otherwise, it should be fairly safe.
Yeah.
If they can do anything at all. Because last year it felt like they could not do anything at all.
I know.
Anytime we'd watch them, it would be running the same exact zone run to the outside every game.
I mean, it's the second that Tua gets hurt, obviously the offense is going to take a step back because Tyler Huntley was their backup. And
hey, Zach Wilson now.
Oh, Zach Wilson is there now. He knows how to lead a 500 season.
Watch your moms.
Watch your moms. All right, Mark, your second bet.
All right, this one isn't anything crazy, but I got the Chiefs to win the AFC West at -110. I thought was surprisingly good odds for that. I assume their best competition is probably Denver, being they made the playoffs. Bo Nix had a really good rookie season. They're bringing back Rashee Rice, who should be ready to go. I'm also seeing Josh Simmons should be ready to go for camp. Two big pieces for them. That offensive line can be better, or even as good. I don't see, as long as Mahomes is upright. He wasn't what he was in a couple years past, but I just have a hard time seeing them not winning that division.
God bless you.
Thank you. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Mark.
No, you're good.
I thought you were done.
Rudely interrupted.
Yeah.
But, he's almost like that Tom Brady-esque now, where it just seems. What was it last year? They went it was 9-0 in one-score games or something. Maybe even better.
I think it
than
was
that.
11 or something.
Yeah.
It just seems like no matter how the game plays out, whether it's refs or whether it's whatever luck, it just always seems to fall on their side. Face of the league, I just don't know if I see that changing.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, it's hard to bet against Mahomes. And over this offseason, they've done nothing but just get better. We, on this podcast, really love their draft. And Josh Simmons, like you said, he's going to be a big piece of this offensive line because, they traded away their best offensive lineman in Joe Thuney. And, how can you bet against Mahomes? Yeah, he's bringing back a ton of receivers. Marquise Brown should actually hopefully be healthy the whole season. As you said, Rashee Rice recovering from that injury caused by Mahomes. And then they drafted Jalen Royals, and I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, yeah, Xavier Worthy will be back in another year into the NFL, which would be better. So it is a tough division now. Like you said, Denver's going to be tough. Chargers are going to be tough. Even the Raiders are looking like they're kind of getting their shit together, but nobody has their shit together quite like Andy Reid.
Yeah, I like this bet, not so much because of the analytical side of it, but anytime we're betting on the Chiefs or Mahomes, I call it hedging my happiness.
Yeah.
So it's I either win money because the Chiefs bet hit or the Chiefs lose, and I'm happy either way.
Yeah.
So I just hedge my happiness with the Chiefs bets, and I like it.
You always bet the Chiefs.
Yeah. It usually works either way.
Yeah.
My second bet is going to be another division winner, this time the Falcons NFC South winner at plus
yeah.
230. So I have a whole bunch of reasons here.
Hell yeah.
First of all, the Bucks lose Liam Cohen, and that's their biggest competition. I think the Bucks are right now at plus 110.
I think you're right with that, yeah.
Yeah, plus 110. I can't find it right now, but here we go.
I wish there was a sound that you're scrolling.
Oh, the Bucks are now plus 100.
Oh, wow.
Falcons are plus 230. Yeah, the Bucks, they add talent in Emeka Ibuka, and Baker still as great as he was, but really the thing I'm betting on here is not so much against the Bucks as I'm betting for the Falcons. So, like I said a minute ago, they lose Liam Cohen, and I think that Liam Cohen was a big part of what this offense did last year and turning Baker around into the quarterback that he now shows that he is. But I think the Falcons are going to be a completely different team. Their offense was already great. Their receivers worked in Darnell Mooney, Drake London, Ray. And I think that Michael Penix is going to be better than Kirk was last year. I realize that's not saying much, but I think Michael Penix can run this offense well with the help of Bijan and Tyler Algier as well. But this defense was really what was holding him back last season. They had no pass rush whatsoever. In this offseason, they had not one, but two top high-level pass rushers in Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. in the draft, bringing Leonard Floyd as well for a nice rotation there. Morgan Fox on the D-line, Jordan Fuller, safety, and they draft Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman Jr. This is a young defense now that if they don't put it together this year, I have no doubts that next year when these rookies have a year experience under their belt, this defense is going to be excellent, and I think that they can get over the Bucs. I don't think the Panthers or Saints really cause a real big threat here. I think it's just a showdown between the Falcons and Bucs. And, so I'm taking the Falcons at plus 230.
You don't have to convince me of this at all. You guys know, both of you know that I've been in on the Falcons since last year. Last year, I would say that I was all in, where I was like at a poker table pushing all my chips in. This year, I'm like taking off my clothes, throwing on the table. I'm like putting my car keys, house key. Strip. We're playing strip poker now, because now last year the Falcons didn't do it. Obviously, they fell just short because Kirk Cousins shat the bed. But I really do believe in Mike Penix, and I love their draft that they had with all these defensive players. And I am all in, boys. The Falcons, I see them being able to make a run in these playoffs, and I don't think that's that bold after what they just did.
Yeah, as terrible as their defense was last year, they were still only 2 games behind the Bucs, and I think they were in the playoff running the final 3 games, right? Because there's this big debate, like, are they going to play Kirk to try to make it to playoffs, or are they going to keep going to Penix, and they continue to go on Penix? So, guys, that gives me faith for how much faith they have in him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, my third bet is it's a pretty simple one, but Mike Evans to get 1,000 plus receiving yards in the regular season, which is at plus 105. So you're getting plus money on the guy who has 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons, receiving seasons. So, yeah, I know all the concerns. He's turning 32 years old in August. Can he stay healthy for enough games to keep up the streak? Because last year he only played 14 games, still was able to get there. The Buccaneers did just draft a wide receiver in the first round in Emeka Ibuka, as you just said. Chris Godwin might be healthy for this whole season to take some of those targets. And then can Baker Mayfield keep up his success without Liam Cohen? Those are all the questions that we laid out right there, just right there for you. But Mike Evans, as I said, played 14 games last year, and they did everything they could at the end of the season to get him his 1,000 yards, because Mike Evans' streak, I feel like, means something not only to him, obviously, but to his quarterback, his offense, the entire Buccaneers franchise, because everybody wants to keep witnessing this history being made. Nobody wants to be the reason that the streak fails. Yeah. Baker doesn't want to be the guy, the quarterback who failed his Hall of Famer wide receiver. So I know that every streak comes to an end eventually. But if Mike Evans is still playing football on an NFL field in 2025, you're not going to catch me betting against him getting 1,000 receiving yards to keep this streak alive. So I don't see how he doesn't get 1,000 yards unless it is because of health. But even if he plays 14 games again, we can see that they're just going to I don't want to say force feed, because he does get open and he is still a very good receiver at his age, but they're going to try to get him his 1,000 yards because it means something, as I said. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I am concerned because, like I just said, with Emeka Ibuka, they're probably going to try to get him some targets. Not that I'm not super concerned about that because last season they were giving Jalen McMillan and Trey Palmer targets every once in a while. But I'm most concerned because Liam Cohen, and I think that he was a big part of how this offense operated. But I think Mike Evans is an exception to that rule because I think Mike Evans is damn near coordinator proof because he's just so dominant, always has been, and him and Baker don't have this repertoire going that I think that he is going to continue to produce should he be on the field, like you said.
Good word, by the way.
Yeah, thank
repertoire.
You. Thank you.
Nicely done.
It's the word of the day.
4 games against the Saints and Panthers. He might get like 700 just in those 4.
Yeah,
That's
seriously.
true, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But he doesn't get to go against Marshawn Lattimore anymore, so
Mm-hmm.
that's going to take away probably 100 yards.
Yeah.
He can't dominate that guy anymore, so
I'm going to miss that. That was just good television, those guys fighting on the field.
yeah, it was.
Go ahead,
Shame.
Mark.
Right. Yeah, nothing flashy this one. Kind of hate that I like it, but got Aaron Rodgers over 3,200 passing yards at -114. Big Buckeyes guy, so I was really hoping for Justin Fields to stay in Pittsburgh. Then I was really hoping for someone under the age of 50 to be quarterback. Who was it? Was it Elliott that told him to get his ass back to the nursing home or whatever?
I don't know.
I think it's Sean Elliott.
Okay.
Oh, he's got a contract. Nice.
Yeah. But,
I know Cam Hayward was hating on him, too, before he ever got signed. He's like, sign here or don't. I don't care.
Yeah.
Saying all that though, Rodgers has made a career throwing into nobodies. I mean, obviously, he's had Adams, he's had Jordan Nelson, but then, I mean, you just random white guys has been. What was his stat? I think for like his whole career in Green Bay, he like didn't have a single first round receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Garrett Wilson caught the first. So it's not like he's had talent offensively for his whole career. Metcalf, let me see here. Roman Wilson hopefully should be taking a big part of this offense. Calvin Austin I thought was good last year for what they forced him into. Bring in Robert Woods, Freiermuth, Jalen Warren. I would definitely not like a top 5 unit there, playmakers, but should be more than capable to get him to that number. It's like 188 yards a game.
Yeah, I just did that math. That is crazy low. 188 passing yards per game if he plays all 17 games.
Yeah. Obviously, the Steelers' offense has been very interesting the past few years. And I just feel like it's going to be with like Ben his last few years there, where they're just going to kind of let him kind of do what he wants to do, and occasionally make him do the stupid plays. I don't think Rodgers was going to come in if he had to learn a complete new system. I think they're going to give him a lot of liberty, and him and Metcalf should be a good combination. Should be if he could stay healthy. But yeah, I think I like that one.
Seems like Aaron Rodgers' head's on fairly straight so far as well. Like, as Kean says, I think we avoided the Aaron Rodgers family plan.
Nah,
because I don't think he's tried to bring in anybody. Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb.
Just wait.
Yeah,
it's still June.
That's true, yeah. But as for now, I've heard good things coming out of camp. Once again, bucket of salt because it's coming out of camp. But it seems like Aaron Rodgers is focused on the season now that he's got his whatever he was doing out of the way over the previous offseason. And, yeah, it seems like these receivers are now bought in. The offense is all bought in, and I think Aaron Rodgers, should he stay healthy, can get 188 pass yards a game pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, 188 pass yards per game is pretty crazy low for a future Hall of Famer. I know that he obviously hasn't looked like a Hall of Famer the past few years, but we can blame some of that on the Jets. I will admit. Not that the Steelers' offense is going to be much better than the Jets, Ayo. But I agree with you, Mark, that I feel like he wouldn't want to go somewhere where he was going to be told what to do. The guy is 41. I think he's going to be 41 years old. And he wants to just kind of go out, like retirement party, just kind of chill, go out somewhere where he's not going to get yelled at, like in New York. Guy can just go somewhere that'll be chill. I don't know. We'll see how rowdy Steelers fans get early in the season if they start like 2-4 or something. But yeah, I think this is going to be mainly his, and I could definitely see this being like Ben's final season, where it's just like a farewell tour and
Couple icy lights, some shrooms or something.
Zephyr streams, yeah, for sure.
I was looking at their schedule, and I think that they can go like 4-0 or 5-0 to start. And if that happens, I see Steelers fan base going absolutely crazy about how Aaron Rodgers is back to his MVP form, and this offense is the best it's ever been in the last 10 years, just from the take a shit the next 15 game or next whatever 13 games, 12 games, whatever I said, and then they realize that this is Steelers Nation, and we will shit the bed.
I saw Kurt Ben. You know how like Kurt Benkert does his own thing now. He's like now like an analyst. He like reads into film and all that. He's all in on Rodgers and the Steelers.
That's because he learned under him. He played under him.
He's like the Steelers are gonna go like 12-5 this year. He's like, this is gonna be like, I know the last few years of Rodgers have been bad, but here's why they're gonna be good. It's like he's like DK Metcalf is a separator, and I'm just like sitting there like, okay, I lost all interest now. But I don't know. As we said, 188 yards a game is nothing.
Yeah. All right, my next bet. Joe Burrow to have the most regular season passing yards at plus 600. I think this is a steal. It's another one of those bets that's like, this is going to be a common theme, but if he stays healthy, I think this is a lock. Going down the list of last season's passing leaders, Joe Burrow, 300 yards ahead of the next person, who's Jared Goff. And we haven't talked about this yet this episode, but I think Jared Goff is being enhanced greatly by what Ben Johnson did.
I'll be talking about it next.
And I don't think that he can produce even close to those numbers without Ben Johnson. Jared Goff has never had to play by himself, I would say. He was with Sean McVay beforehand, getting his help, and now he's with Ben Johnson. So we're going to see what he can actually do this season. Then Baker Mayfield's the next from last season. We previously talked about him as well with Liam Cohen, and I think he's going to take a step back. Number 4 and 5 passing yards leaders from last year, Geno Smith and Sam Darnold. Lamar Jackson's number 6. Not too concerned about him competing with Joe Burrow. And then we have Mahomes down at 7. I don't think that they rely on Mahomes the same they used to. They were relying on the run game and pushing the run game last season with Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. And I think that they're going to continue to try to do that to preserve Mahomes for the playoffs. And Mahomes' buddy guy, Travis Kelce, is taking a step back as well. He can't get the passing yards that he used to because he doesn't have his buddy there, first of all, but mostly I don't think they're going to force him to do that. He just makes short passes and lets the receivers go to work now. And then on the odds for this season, we have Mahomes next. Brock Purdy is third, who's the only one I haven't talked about here. And Brock Purdy's another guy that I don't foresee him taking such a far step forward from last season that he can compete with what Joe Burrow has in Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and even Mike Gesicki they brought back because he was on fire at the end of last year. So should Burrow stay healthy, whether T. Higgins is healthy or not, I think he's going to get the passing yards leader again for this season, and I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, I mean, Burrow doesn't do anything else.
Yeah.
Because, Lamar is a good passer, but he always has the option to run. And if it's easier to run, he's going to run.
Yeah.
But read through those top 5 in terms of odds again. You don't have to read the odds, but just read through the top.
Joe Burrow, Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott. Guys, I didn't talk about Dak. He's another guy that I also don't see him getting those passing numbers. He does have CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, but I think that against the good teams, he doesn't get the passing numbers they did against the bad teams, and he also has somewhat of a run game to lean on and a defense, whereas Joe Burrow is almost always going to be in the game script where they have to pass to come back, and he has to throw the ball because they're down, and it's crunch time. He's the guy. So he's going to rack up the numbers through that, and these freebie games that Dak's going to get where they get ahead and then they can just kind of cruise. Joe Burrow's always going to be fighting because his defense does nothing, and if he turns the ball over, then that's probably a touchdown for the other team, so he gets the ball back again. More passing yards. So, yeah, so the odds are Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, those first 4 guys you read whenever you first started talking, the Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, all those guys who are basically purely passers, just like that. they all changed coordinators.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you said, Pat Mahomes, they don't rely on him like that anymore because Rashee Rice is not his best receiver is not a down the field gain yards receiver. He is literally a yak guy. They just get him the ball and let him go to work, which does count as passing yards. That's some bullshit. Well, we don't have to talk about that.
Same as Xavier Worthy. They use him more as a jet sweep or a touch pass or a push pass kind of guy than they do a down the field threat.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that makes so much sense to me because Joe Burrow is bringing back. He literally, there was like not a press conference. It was just like an interview on some kind of cast, and he was like saying like, who do you want to bring back? And he was like Mike Gesicki, T. Higgins, and he probably honestly wants Trey Hendrickson to not be there so that he can the defense can be even worse.
Yeah,
and then he gets more passing yards because the other team keeps scoring. But
he's the only person in these top 5 that, like you said, haven't lost something from last year. And for the Herbert fans out there, he just doesn't pass the ball enough. They're on first team, and he doesn't have the weapons even if they were to pass the ball enough, so I'm not concerned about him.
Yeah, they just drafted a running back in the first round in Omarion Hampton, which should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Maybe my favorite bet here as far as ROI, return on investment.
I like this.
Caleb Williams, 4,000 plus passing yards, which is at plus 280. So after multiple seasons of just blue balling teams looking for head coaches, Ben Johnson finally left Detroit, and he could have literally picked probably just about anywhere he wanted to go as head coach, and he chose the Bears. So
The
Bears, yeah.
A division rival at that. But Ben Johnson was the offensive coordinator in Detroit from 2022 to 2024, 3 years. He took Jared Goff and made him look like a fringe top 10 quarterback, I would say. In 2022, 4,438 pass yards. In 2023, 4,575 pass yards. In 2024, 4,629 passing yards. Ben Johnson decided to go to the division rival Bears to work with Caleb Williams, which was thought to be the next Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck, hints of Patrick Mahomes, the guy with all the tools who looked like one of the best quarterbacks to come out of college in years. Yes, the rookie year was pretty rough for Caleb Williams. I get that. Everything that we're hearing now, though, coming out of Chicago, how bad it was for him, that's not ideal for a rookie. Nobody helped him watch film or showed him what to even look for. Offensive coordinator Shane Waldron was fired midseason. Head coach Matt Eberflus had no idea what he was doing and probably should have been fired before the 2024 season. I still believe in the talent and potential that I saw in Caleb Williams' film coming into the draft. So Ben Johnson comes in, immediately beefs up the offensive line because Caleb Williams was the leader in sacks last year. He traded for left guard Joe Tooney and right guard Jonah Jackson and then signed center Drew Dahlman from the Falcons. And then he drafted offensive tackle Ozzie Trapillo in the second round. So Ben Johnson also immediately improved the pass catchers in the draft. Tight end Colson Loveland in the first, a route running technician at the tight end position. Carson's tight end 1 in this class. Loves that guy. All that guy does is catch balls.
Does do that.
And then he also drafted in the second round wide receiver Luther Burden III, who's a twitchy yak receiver with the potential to really do it all, we believe. Our consensus wide receiver 2 in this class. And now back to some math that really, really surprised me. To reach 4,000 passing yards, which Jared Goff did every single year that he was there with Ben Johnson in Detroit, over 17 games, Caleb Williams has to pass for 235.3 passing yards per game. 235 per game is not anything crazy high for a guy who they didn't really add anything to. Well, I mean, they did add Kyle Monangai in the 7th round, but I mean, the fact that they drafted him in the 7th round kind of shows what they think of him. They wanted to go receivers first, so they went out and got Colston Loveland, and they went out and got Luther Burden, and they went out and got some pass protectors because they want to throw the ball just like Ben Johnson has been doing ever since he got to Detroit. So with all of this that is set up for Caleb Williams in Chicago, it is very possible that Ben Johnson at the helm can help Caleb Williams reach 4,000 passing yards. I might honestly throw the bag at this one.
Yeah, this offense is absolutely loaded, like you said, with talent and coordinator talent all around. It's insane, and you already said enough yourself that I think that if you didn't put this bet, then I was going to put his over. I don't know about 4,000 plus, but definitely is over.
Yeah, and in this division of the Packers, the Lions, the Vikings, and the Bears, we got what is that? 6 games there. What's it? I feel kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 6 games there of teams that is probably just gonna be lights out. Just like, just 30-point games on either side.
Yeah.
Just like,
Packers don't have a defense. They don't have any corners.
exactly. Yeah, they don't have any
Yeah.
corners.
The Lions are still working with Terry Arnold.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And then the
Vikings don't have any corners
Yeah,
either.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah, these games are gonna be
It's going to be an
shootouts.
absolute throw fest.
Yeah, they're gonna be shootouts. So plus 280. Yeah, as I said, I might throw some serious money at this one, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some bets in here that I think I'm going to make all my bets. Throw like $50 on some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will.
Yeah.
Mark!
Let's see here. So this one is, one sense, might be my riskiest one, but I do love this one. So, I got the Giants an alternate over 7.5 wins.
I love this.
Plus 360. So it's the Giants. So it's kind of tough believing there. Last year, PFF had them ranked 13th defensively, and then they went out and added Abdul Carter and Javon Hollins were their stars on the defense. Just pass rushers having Brian Burns, Sexy Dexy, Abdul Carter. As far as a top 3, that might be one, I feel like.
Thibodeau, too.
And then you have Thibodeau as your 4th guy. We saw at the Eagles, if you have a pass rush, you're going to be in games.
Mm-hmm.
Offensively was the struggle last year. They had Neighbors. They had Wandale, who I thought was really good. Slayton's always a little hit and miss, but as a 3rd guy, not bad. Problem was they had Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito. I love the guy, but just not an NFL quarterback. Do they have someone else they played too?
Drew Lock was still there.
No.
That's another not stud.
Yeah.
Also, they started the season without playing Tracy as much. I love Tyrone Tracy. Scatterboo, I think, is going to be good in this offense also. So having a full season of them, and then between Winston, Russell, and Dart, I don't see how that combination can do any worse than quarterback play last year. I think that should also help the defense, too, not be on the field for 47 minutes a game. If I had to predict... Oh, also, I see that the Giants were 1-7 in one-score games last year.
Oh.
So, you expect some positive regression there. I feel like this team can be very Steelers-esque, where they're playing games that are 21-17, 17-4, ugly games, and if they can pull out half of those wins that they didn't last year, I think they could hit that 7.5.
Yeah, you make a really good point there, and the point that got me most was, now that I think about it, that is very true, that if you have a pass rush, you're going to be in games. You think about all the teams with the pass rush, Steelers, Eagles, I'm missing one. What's the other one that's a shitty team, but they have a good pass rush? Anyways, all these teams that have top high-level pass rushers and a pass rush are always in games because the other team can only pass so much on them. Like, the Steelers' defense, not their corners, more so TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, keeps his team in games because they're good for seemingly, not statistically, just seemingly, it seems like they get a strip sack every game, or they force a fumble every game, or they force a tipped ball interception every game. They're always just absolutely ripping on the other team's O-line, wreaking havoc behind the line of scrimmage, and I think that will keep the Giants in the game here because, the Vikings. The Vikings have a good pass rush with anybody, whether you're white Andrew Van Ginkel or someone with actual talent. You're good on that team. And this defense does have the best line in the NFL, and I'll go to the grave saying that. Abdul Carter, he read the names. It's insane. I almost bet Abdul Carter Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, but I just don't know how all these guys are going to see the field and how they're going to use these guys because there might be a rotation or they're going to put someone at D-line or use them as an old-school D-end. But, yeah, I think that they will stay in games because of his defense, and Russ is experienced. He can run the offense and limit turnovers. He can feed the ball to Neighbors and Slayton and Wandale and this running back duo or trio, because Devin Singletary is always relevant for some reason, will move chains, I think. And Tyron Tracy did that last year by himself. Now he has some thunder to go with him.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would take all three of their quarterbacks that they have this year over the three quarterbacks they had last year. I know Tommy DeVito's still there. He was in some press conference talking about how him and Jackson Dart might be going on Love Island. Yeah, I don't know. But he's not going to see the field ever. He might get cut. Well, he probably won't get cut because that'd be bad for just like the overall.
Mafia might come after them.
Yeah. That's a good point. Mafia might come after.
Yeah, he'll be an elite level practice squad guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll give the scout He'll give the scout offense some spark.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't see how this team is any worse. You don't have to talk us into the Giants. We've been talking them up basically ever since they added Javon Holland and brought back like everybody, and we made Malik Neighbors a top 5 wide receiver for us. Carson had him at 4. Cody had him at 3. But this Giants team, I don't see how they don't do bad, and now they're probably going to do bad.
Yeah, probably so. My next bet is kind of a gross one, but you gotta learn to love it. Derrick Henry to have the most regular season rushing yards, and that is at plus 500. So going down through the list of other guys here, Saquon's obviously ahead of him. We've talked about it before. I think, unfortunately for me and the league, really, everybody loves him. You can't hate the guy. I think he's gonna get injured sometime this season, or at least miss some games, because he did have an insane amount of touches last year, and I know
482.
What's that?
482 touches.
Yeah, and I know it's just a stat, but there's this thing. It's like in fantasy football, the number 1 overall pick or running back or whatever is never the number 1 overall running back 2 years in a row, aside from Jamal Charles like 15 years ago or whatever it was. But I think that's going to fit the mold of Saquon Barkley, because he has had an injured, riddled career. And I don't foresee him going back-to-back healthy seasons twice in a row. Derrick Henry's second at plus 600. And then Jonathan Taylor is third behind him. He's another guy that seemingly is always injured. I don't think he might have had one healthy season, actually, in his whole career. So I'm not too concerned about that. Can you find that? I think there's only one healthy season in his whole career, because last season he only played...
Saquon?
No, Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, last season he started 13 games. He was efficient, but only 13 games started. And then the only other real threat, I believe, here is Bijan Robinson. He's 4th in the betting odds, and he's the one that scares me, because I have full faith that he's going to stay healthy the whole season. I think he's going to continue to take more steps forward. Last season was a shit show for the pass game, and once they get the pass game going, Bijan can get going once more. So he's the only one that scares me. Then behind him is Christian McCaffrey. They're not going to use him like they used to. They've already said that they're going to use him in a committee now and try to save him. Jahmyr Gibbs, Kean talked about him. He's in a committee. And then the third most concern causing me is Ashton Genty, actually. And I ultimately decided that he's not a real threat, because Pete Carroll is saying that they're going to use a committee-type approach to try to preserve him. Now, once again, it's just talk coming out of camp, so you got to take it with a bucket of salt. But that shows me that he's not going to be a true workhorse that's going to give Derrick Henry a real fight.
Jonathan Taylor does have one total healthy season in the NFL, because he's 5 years in the NFL. First season, 15 games. Second season, 17 games. Third season, 11. Fourth season, 10. Last year, 14.
Yeah. So he's not a real threat to me. So that leaves me Derrick Henry, who Kean said it before, it's less impressive now that he's on the Ravens, but stats are stats, and that makes it even all the more reason why I continue to bet Derrick Henry, because he is in an actual offense now that he probably had to take less hits last year than ever before, because he actually had blockers. He could get out of bounds more. He could get to the sideline. He didn't have to do it all himself.
He's got a 300-pound fullback.
Yeah, 325 touches. He's had way more on the Titans before. He's had 350 on the Titans, 378. So this was one of his lower to middle usage seasons compared to others. he's just hyper efficient, and he's getting a whole lot of yards before contact because of this line. I think he can stay healthy for one more season. He takes care of himself. I've seen the reports. It's like his diet's insane, and he's on this crazy training regimen.
Regimen.
I
don't think there's a T there.
Men?
Yeah, men, yeah.
Regimen, yeah. So, yeah, at plus 500, I think that he can do it again. Should Saquon probably will get injured. And hopefully he can fend off Bijan, because I know I'm rambling here, but Derrick Henry had an insane season last year that's just so shadowed by what Saquon Barkley did. Saquon Barkley, 2005 yards, but Derrick Henry was right there behind him. 1,921 yards, less than 100 yards behind Saquon's insane season. He doesn't get any love. 3 more touchdowns. He's just living under the hype of Saquon 2,000-plus yard season, even though Derrick Henry was right there with him. So, yeah, I think he'll repeat this season, similar production. And they were almost 700 yards above the next guy last season. Oh, never mind. No, 500.
Yep. Still, though.
Yeah, 400, 500,
That's crazy. That's like 5 games for good running backs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you lay it out like that, it does make a lot of sense. And I know that I just argued against Derrick Henry for the OPOY this year because out of the sheer, like, impressiveness factor. But, like, that's for an award that's voted on by people who, like, have all these, like, narratives going in their head. It's like, well, how more impressive is it for Puka Nacua did this compared to Derrick Henry? But stats are stats. And whenever we're betting on stats, you want the guy who gets the most stats.
Mm-hmm.
Stats.
Right, stats, yeah.
So, I don't see, like, Derrick Henry at age 31, he could very well just do this thing again because everything on the Ravens is always so disciplined. They know what they want to do, and then they do it.
Yeah, he's really only had one injury in his career, and that was the foot injury from 2 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You have a hamate bone in your foot?
Yeah.
I think it was his hamate, right?
I think so.
I thought so. Anyways.
I don't know. Can you imagine how like much in pain that hamate bone would be? Just carrying a 240-pound guy.
Yeah.
Just getting crushed.
But he's so large.
He's so large. That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
So smooth, too.
Yeah, he's so smooth.
Doesn't look like he's running fast, but he's out running corners.
Yeah. All right, my final bet. Ashton Genty, the Raiders rookie running back, over 1,075.5 rushing yards for the regular season. That's minus 114. So the math here. 1,075 rush yards split up over 17 games is 63.2 rush yards per game. Crazy low. 1,075 rush yards split up over, say, 15 games. Say he has to miss like a couple games, which I don't really see happening, but he did have a lot of touches last year, so it's a very good possibility. But I feel like he misses 2 games max, in my opinion, unless he really gets schmacked by somebody, which he does play against Dre Greenlaw twice a year.
Oh,
so.
That's not good.
But 15 games, 1,075 rush yards is 71.7 rush yards per game, which is still not anything crazy. So let's just say he averages a modest 15 carries per game, okay? And that's not even that much. Over a 17-game season, to get to 1,076 rush yards, he has to average about 4.2 yards per carry. So the NFL running backs who averaged 4.2 yards per carry last year in 2024, Zach Charbonnet, Alvin Kamara, Tony Pollard. Even the guys who averaged 4.3 yards per carry in 2024, Cam Akers, Rashad White, Brian Robinson. I would already rank Ashton Genty over all of those guys. I think he can definitely do better than all of those guys. As far as a better pure runner, easily. This Raiders team spent the 6th overall pick on this running back out of Boise State, who just ran for 2,601 rush yards over 14 games in 2024. So Pete Carroll comes in as the head coach who historically believes in running the damn ball on offense. Remember the let Russ cook movement in Seattle? Well, that was Pete Carroll choosing to maintain a run-first offense and trust his defense. Because Pete Carroll lost Super Bowl 59 or 49, remember?
Oh, I remember.
Against the Patriots, where he didn't run the damn ball on the 1-yard line, and Russell Wilson threw an interception to Malcolm Butler. The rest is history. You think he still doesn't have nightmares about that? Because I bet he still thinks about that.
Probably, yeah.
And now he's getting another shot at an NFL head coaching job. And over Pete Carroll's 14 seasons as Seattle's head coach, he had an offense that ranked top 5 in rush yards for 6 of those 14 seasons. And in those 6 seasons, his team went 67-29 in the regular season, which is a 70% win percentage. And he made it to the divisional round 3 times, then the Super Bowl twice, winning one of those times in the 2013 season. So this team is going to run the damn ball.
Mm-hmm.
Pete made sure to go out and get Ashton Genty as his first addition in the draft to carry the torch. And Pete has now found his new beast mode, his new Marshawn Lynch. And I don't believe any of that stuff coming out of camp saying that, oh, it's going to be a committee. There's no way in hell, Pete. You're using your first-round pick running back. You just spent the 6th overall pick on this guy. You watched him run for 2,600 yards last year. There's no way you're not letting him cook and run for more than 63 yards a game. That's crazy.
Yeah, it gets better, and I'm completely bought in here because
You've been typing shit over there. He's researching. He's deep in it now.
completely bought in because Sincere McCormick last season
Nice.
on the Raiders,
What a pull.
the same team, 4.7 yards per carry. That's insane.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that Ashton Genty can do this.
Yeah.
And then my concern that I said earlier in the podcast about them using a committee type approach. I thought about a situation that was similar to this. A running back gets drafted high. They don't get the usage that they should. Everybody gets mad. Bijan Robinson's rookie season. Arthur Smith disrespected him and used him, and a committee might be too nice of a word. It was like a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
I
mean, no disrespect to Tyler Algier.
Yeah,
Tyler
yeah,
Algier
yeah.
is still a great running back.
Yeah. I'm saying that Raheem Mostert's nowhere near Tyler Algier and doesn't pose that kind of threat. But he didn't even start him for one game because he said he was sick or was trying to save him or whatever it was. But that season, with all the crap that Bijan had to go through, was still able to manage 976 rushing yards. I think Ashton Genty can be very similar or more than that. Should he get disrespected the same? But I don't see him getting disrespected the same because, first of all, I think that he is higher touted than Bijan was coming out, having almost won the Heisman, and the draft capital they spent on him. Second of all, Pete Carroll is a smarter coach than Arthur Smith, and he's willing to actually run the ball and pound the rock with his guy. So, yeah, I think this is pretty safe as well.
Let me give you another Raiders running back from last year who averaged more than 4.2 yards per carry.
If it's Zamir White.
Amir Abdullah.
Okay, I was going to say, if it's Zamir White.
No, definitely not Amir White.
I was going to say, there's no way he got over 4 yards of carry.
No. Amir Abdullah was 4.7 yards per carry over 66 rush attempts. Yeah.
Wow.
Known to have a big cock, according to Cletus. Yeah.
Allegedly, yeah. It's hard to say. We don't really know.
We don't know, yeah.
On that note, go ahead, Mark.
Hard to follow up that one. This one's also a little nasty for me, but I think I like Baker Mayfield over 4,500 passing yards at plus 600. Losing the OC was definitely going to be big. Obviously, Evans and Godwin were hurt a bunch last year. So, assuming one of them stays healthy, which is a tall task, you also bring in Mika Mbuka.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have really all three running backs can catch the ball in the backfield. Cade Otton is good. I mean, not a world beater, but he's
Underrated, I feel like.
Yeah. That I'm also with you guys. I think the Falcons do win that division.
Hell yeah.
The Buccaneers defense is not what it was. They're a good team, not a great team. I think they're going to have to score to win games. They're never going to be blowing teams out enough to where they have to take off the gas. Let me see here. Oh, yeah. Mayfield also started a little rocky last year. I think in his first 8 games, he had like 4 or 5 times he was under 200 yards. It was like against the Lions, he only went for like 150-something. They won that game somehow. There's a few times he started off rocky, and then the later half of the season, he was much more consistent. Yep.
Yeah, this defense, like you said, is good, not great. I don't think it's going to be anything that prevents them from having to keep throwing the ball. They have talent here, but nickel corner Christian Izien.
Yeah, he had to play last year whenever Antoine Winfield Jr. was
Yeah,
hurt.
sounds like it's easy to get open on him.
Oh!
Jamel Dean, Zion McCollum, good, not great. Just drafted Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish. Then they have Hassan Reddick now, which we'll see, I guess.
If he plays, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Buccaneers team, it feels like there's something. I kind of picture Todd Bowles like Vin Diesel. He likes to keep his family together. And he seemingly wants to keep running back what he has with this defense. Yeah, he's made some additions, like you said, in the draft, Hassan Reddick and stuff. But, like, this looks a lot like the same defense that we saw back with Tom Brady. There's a lot of overlap here. And, I mean, guys get old. And as they get old in the NFL, they don't get as good. And whenever that happens, the defense gets worse. So that means you have to throw more. And so I could definitely see this happening because Baker Mayfield, if there is anybody who in the NFL who wants to throw out his arm and just go absolutely nuts chucking the ball around, it's Baker Mayfield. He's got that gunslinger mentality, and it's fun to watch. And so if this defense really is as bad or not as good as we are like projecting here, and the Falcons are better, the Panthers are better. The Saints aren't going to be better, so those are 2 wins right there. And they're probably not really going to be contested. But I think that the Panthers' offense is going to be better. I feel like they could probably score on this team because I'm kind of a Bryce Young believer now. But like I feel like this team is going to have to throw, and the guy who's throwing the ball is Baker Mayfield. So I believe in this as well, Mark.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield had 4 games last season under 200 yards. Not only were they under 200 yards, one of the games was 116 passing yards, another 163, and then 180 and 185. So no doubt that definitely hampered his stats.
Yeah, and like before McMillan started picking it up, his number 2 receiver was like Trey Palmer, Sterling Shepard.
Yeah.
And now he's got 4 guys that should be there that are better than those guys. And Trey Palmer could honestly get cut.
Yeah. Okay, my last bet is not gross. It's an amazing bet here.
Hell yeah.
Michael Penix Jr. over 3,300 regular season passing yards. That's minus 114. And I think this line has to be factoring in a risk of injury or maybe him being so terrible that they give Kirk another look and let him learn some more. But I don't foresee that happening, and I would be willing to almost put the money on him getting 4,000 plus. Let me put this line into perspective for you. So 3,300 yards, that's 194 passing yards a game. But that's not even the most impressive part. Last season, in 14 games, Kirk had 3,508 passing yards. As terrible as he was. That was 14 games. And then I was like, okay, what's it really going to take to get 3,300 passing yards? So I started looking at some previous Falcons teams. Let me take you back to the Falcons 2023 team.
All right.
Their quarterbacks were able to accumulate 3,524 passing yards, 224 more than Michael Penix Jr. needs to get, with quarterbacks Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke, and Logan Woodside.
Oh, my
3,524 yards between those 3 guys in this offense that was not as good as it is this year. Michael Penix Jr., we saw it happen in college. He can support multiple receivers succeeding, and he can deliver the ball well. He's a great pocket passer. He can scramble a little bit, extend the play when he has to. And I think should he stay healthy, he's going to absolutely crush this line.
Dude, that makes so much sense to me. And if the Falcons really are going to win this division, it is going to fall a lot on his shoulders because you said the offensive pieces are all there. The only concern would be because the running game should be probably really good. But either way, you can still pass for 199 yards a game and run for over 100 yards a game.
Yeah, it's the same rushing
attack.
Same rushing attack as last year, where Bijan got almost 1,500 yards, and Kirk, like I said, was still able to get over 3,514. So I think there is room for both in this offense.
And the same rushing attack, yeah, it would be the same guys that they had back in 2023 with that garbage pile at quarterback.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Why would the line be? I guess it really must be related to injury concerns because Michael Penix Jr., that's why he's 25 years old now, is a second-year guy because he stayed in college for so long and had so many season-ending injuries that he
needs double knee braces.
Yeah, he needs double knee braces, and he's not even an O-lineman.
Yeah.
So that would be even more reason to bet on him passing the ball because he doesn't want to run.
Yeah.
He's got brittle knees.
Yeah.
So he's just going to hang in the pocket and chuck the ball around. I love this. I'm all in on the Falcons, baby.
If I had more bets, I also would have put the Michael Penix over 18.5 passing touchdowns in here because that pass in the red zone last year sticks in my head where it was 4th or 3rd down. They were on like the 5-yard line, had to have a touchdown, and he just absolutely whipped the ball in there between like 3 defenders and to his guy. It was amazing. But 18.5 is also insane. That's if he can get 1.5 touchdowns a game, he's gonna crush it. And Michael Penix is especially good in the red zone, I think, because he's great at manipulating defenses with his eyes and looking off defenders. And even if Bijan does get his touchdowns, there's room for him because Bijan will get some receiving touchdowns as well. I'm really all in on Michael Penix's overs for this season.
I need to get me a Falcons jersey. I love Michael Penix. He's so accurate. I remember one of his first throws of the season last year whenever he first starting. He just about got Kadarius Hodge killed. The throw to Kadarius Hodge right up the seam, and he just got immediately hit by a safety so hard.
That. He got blasted.
Yeah, he got blasted, but it was a beautiful ball.
Yeah, I tried to parlay his passing yards and his touchdowns overs, but it wouldn't let you.
Nah.
That was going to be my bet, but...
that'd be some good money.
Yeah, maybe later. I don't know. We'll see.
Later. But if you guys have any suggestions, feedback, questions that you would like answered on the podcast, please comment down below or reach out to us at our email, laststopsportstalk@gmail.com. I don't know what name I just said.
Did you say Luther Burden?
I almost did. Yeah. Mark, before we let you go here, because we got a little bit of time here. It's 8:19 a.m., full transparency. You're a Steelers fan. I know you have a Herbert jersey on, but you are a Steelers fan through and through. Give us predictions for the season. How do you do you think Jalen Ramsey's coming? Do you think what do you think Steelers' record is? What do you think? Just give us something that you're predicting for the Steelers here before we get out of here.
He's checking his sources right now, making sure Shepard didn't text him an update or anything.
I want to pull up this schedule real quick. Hate the Ravens. They're going to win the division. They're probably AFC Championship team, the Ravens are, so that might be my not spicy take. I think Rodgers is going to be good for parts of the season. I think there's going to be some points where he falls off because he is a 41-year-old coming off of, Achilles?
Yep.
I guess that was last year.
Calves looking good, though.
Yeah, calves are looking hella strong. That blew my
Which
mind.
Achilles was it? Was it his left Achilles? His left calf is significantly smaller.
Then probably.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly which one it was.
Yeah.
Defensively, I kind of felt we were a little overrated last year. We were touted to be one of the best. We couldn't stop the run the last half of the season.
You got Derek Harmon.
Yeah, our interior D-line was bad.
If we need improvement there, I'm also a Buckeyes fan, so love getting Captain Jack Sawyer in. I think he'll be a good piece in that pass. If the pass rush can get home, we should be at least 500 team, per usual. So I'm anticipating a 9-8 type season, 10-7, and getting smashed in Buffalo 45-12, if I had to predict.
Yeah, it's the same as usual. What do you think's going to happen with TJ Watt? Re-signed or not? Because there is a real chance here that we let him walk. He's 30 years old now. I think he's going to be 31 in October. And we now have Highsmith, Herbig, and Jack Sawyer as a good rotation there. So do you think should we and will we? Those are the two questions.
That's a tough one.
Or is Omar Khan cautiously tiptoeing toward a TJ Watt trade?
Oh.
Which I know there's always the rumors out there, but those are just analysts saying they should trade TJ Watt. I think there's never anything actually, any hints of it actually happening. I kind of think it should happen.
I hate to say it. I mean, he is, 31?
31 in October, I think.
In October. He's had injuries most of his career.
You'd get it right now. You would get a first-round pick for him
Easily.
31 in October.
If you look at J.J. Watt at the end of his career, he obviously was a little bigger guy, but his last few seasons, he could not stay healthy.
The only thing that concerns me is without TJ Watt in the field, the Steelers have been...
Wait, damn, sorry. He just mentioned TJ Watt, and I got confused.
Without
TJ Watt, yes.
Without TJ Watt in the field, the Steelers have been historically bad. We cannot do diddly when he's not on the field.
Well, that's why you bring in another white pass rusher.
Yeah, we have 3 of them now. Well, 2.5.
Yeah. Like,
Is Herbig a little bit, or is he just like a wannabe?
He's definitely white.
Okay, he seems like he just kind of wants to be a little bit.
I think he actually might be like from Hawaii or something.
Oh,
He
okay.
doesn't look like it. But hey, go ahead.
Polynesian.
Yeah, Polynesian.
His brother.
Wrong part of the ocean, but being as they signed Rodgers, I feel like they're going all in for one more push this year. I think ideally we probably just would have stayed with Will Howard and good old drawing a blank.
Mason Rudolph.
And just
Good
see
old
what we
Howard.
have there. Go 6-11 now, 5-8, or 5 and
Yeah.
5-12, 6-11.
Yes.
Do we have a franchise tag to use?
I don't think anybody got the franchise tag
I don't think so either.
unless they put it on Muth. No, I don't think
he
he's
got
contract. Oh, did he? Damn.
Cam Hayward get signed?
Oh.
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't think his contract's up yet. I
Okay.
swear they didn't use franchise tag. I didn't hear
Okay.
anything about it.
Yeah.
By the way, Nick Herbig is from Hawaii.
Oh, okay, that's why. Yeah.
Anything else, guys?
I'm
No?
good. So should we?
Oh, shit.
You're dancing around the question here, Mark. Damn it!
Yeah.
You're the GM. What are you doing with TJ Watt?
If I could get a trade for him where I'm getting a first plus, I feel like you have to jump on that.
Now, will we?
No.
No.
We're going to compete. We're going to try. And we're going to go just above 500.
Okay. I like it. Well, I don't like it, but I like the prediction.
I don't. Once again, like Vin Diesel, the Rooney family also operates on the family.
Well, we got rid of Derek.
Who?
Derek Watt.
What?
So the other brother's
That's
gone. It's like we like brothers, so.
That's true. Well, they did draft that one guy from last year. His name was Ryan Watts. I think they got confused.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a cousin or something.
Yeah. Somewhere, I think, coming across the Mayflower, they threw an S on the end or something.
All right. Mark, thank you again for coming on. This is an awesome podcast. I'll have to get you on again, too. Talk some more bets, of course. And if you guys have anything else to comment to us, email us. Once again, we got so many things coming up here. We're going to be talking X Factors. I'm really excited for that podcast. Guys, X Factors on every single team. Pretty soon, training camps are going to be starting. Then preseason, then it's regular season, then it's postseason, and then it's Super Bowl, and then you never know, draft, man.
Yeah.
And then draft, and we're staying here. We're keeping you up to date with all of this. But once again, thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.